Welcome to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the Town of Barnstable, a podcast where you can meet the people who steward the programs and services for the Town of Barnstable that connects us to our quality of life. We invite you to join the conversation as we navigate municipal government and our community pathways to help you discover Barnstable. I'm Paula Hersey, and today I am joined with Guest Licensing Director, Deputy Director of Asset Management, Liz Hartsgrove, as we explore this week's topic of discussion, special events. Liz, you're on the other side of the microphone.
I know.
You got me all kind of crazy.
I'm so sorry. I made you tongue-tied, like twisted. Yeah, we're playing Twister on the podcast here today.
Right,
yes,
so you're a guest today, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Let me just tell folks a little bit about you.
Okay.
You joined the Town of Barnstable in 2014, but you've worked for over 20 years in various towns on the Cape, managing licensing, special events, and operations. And let me just tell people, you worked for Disney at one point in time too, didn't you?
No, actually I didn't. However, I use them as a real guiding point towards customer service as well as special events, because, you know, when you're doing something in that particular field, you go with the ones who are doing it the best, who know it, who have a well-oiled machine, and you use them as a template, and you see how it can be molded into what Barnstable works best for Barnstable. So my past experience is with visitor services of the Gateway Greeter program, which is an award-winning program, actually internationally award-winning. We tailored it off of a certain standards of operation and values that match Barnstable's experiences and kind of their expectance of services and how it's delivered. So the same thing with special events. It is very comprehensive and it's very overwhelming, but that's what we're here to talk about. And that's why I'm sitting on this side and got you all discombobulated.
Let's start at the beginning. Let's dial it back. And what is a special event?
Yeah, that's a great question. Easy peasy question, and it's so simple but so complex at the same time. Special events are events that are not reoccurring. They can happen maybe once or twice a year, biannually, or maybe, like, for example, open streets is a good one. They are special because it only happens twice a year. It's not happening all the time, like, you know, happy hour or something like that it's every Friday that they have an open mic session or something. So it's an event that occurs actually by the state of Massachusetts is an event that occurs less than 30 calendar days per year. The way that the Town of Barnstable phrases it is actually per location is less than 10 calendar days per year per location that they happen. So it is open to the general public. It is not considered like a wedding. A wedding is not considered. It's closed off. It is a private event, a private affair. But a special event is for the general public to use. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And there's so many connotations of special events. We have road races. The fall is road race season in Barnstable. We have such large areas that people can congregate. So folks, I'm not sure actually understand how many places the Town of Barnstable has that can hold special events. So let's talk about, first off, before you have your event.
Yeah.
It's got to be permitted.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what type of permits are needed or required for these special events.
Sure. So I'm going to answer that with, it depends. That's going to be my phrase of the day, or a phrase for special events is, it depends. Okay. It depends on, it depends on what I call enhancements. It depends on what exactly are you going to be doing. What is your priority and objective for this event? Is it something that's similar to a First Amendment, where you're going to have a rally that is about something that is political or of the topic of the environment and what's going on globally? And it's, or is it even our past elections and people actually standing at the Rotary, the airport Rotary? That actually needs to be, or we recommend that it's permitted through my office, which is special events. Mm-hmm. It's a free permit, but it depends. So then you have the broader or more the medium size events of you're going to have a little festival and you're going to have an open mic or some entertainment that happens, or you're going to have a food festival and you're just starting out, or you have just a small community event that you want to use a town property or even a private property, but you're opening it up to the general public. And then you have the broader, bigger ones like the Pan Mass Challenge. We have Love Live Locals Fest. We have the holiday festivals and the strolls in every village of the town. It depends. It depends. So there's a lot of nuances, and and I can't stress this enough, is just call me or email me and give me a synopsis as to what you're going to be proposing to do, when you're going to do it, where you're going to do it. And then I will help guide you through the process as to what exactly are your next steps. Okay. So
there are a specific step especially for town property, is an application process, and we have entered the 21st century, folks. Yeah. The Town of Barnstable does have that application online.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that application process. Like, what do you need beforehand before you start that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you do need to know if it's going to be, where it's going to be, the approximate date and time, the approximate attendance that you're going to do, and then, like I said, the enhancements. Are you going to have a tent? Are you looking for food? Is it going to be prepped on-site or off-site? Are you going to bring in food trucks for it? Are you going to have entertainment? And what kind of entertainment? Is it going to be a bouncy house? Is it going to be games, for children? Are you going to do live music or even cinema and doing movies? Or are you going to have even alcohol, which is a big one? So whether it is all alcohol, which is not allowed on town property, or you can do beer and wine. So there are, just in general, is it going to be on a street? Is it going to be on an actual off-premise? And is there going to be parking? So those are all the things that on the special events website has all of these details and like a cheat sheet type of information page that'll help you guide you. But the use of town property application asks all those really deep dive questions. Right. Even for example, for the fall and the winter events that we have, you're going to have space heaters. So we need to know, and some events even have open fire pits. We need to know if you're going to have those, where they're going to be, if there's propane tanks involved for even cooking. We ask all of those real specific questions, because what happens is, Paula, when those applications are filed and you have a layout of the land, you have a site plan, you have a written safety plan for like how are you going to control the crowds in any capacity. When you file that application and you answer all of those detailed questions, what happens is the application gets sent to me. I review it and make sure that it's clear. I have a good understanding of what the staff is going to be looking at, because it is so detailed and it touches base with so many different departments. Right. I mean, we're talking the police department, fire department, asset management with insurance. My department will also with licensing for liquor and entertainment. You have the health department for food. You have the building department for signage, banners, and tents, as well as bouncy houses. You have the recreation department for beaches and for their locations of making sure there aren't any conflicts. You have so many departments looking at it. So when that application's filed, I look at it, make sure that it's answered and that there's no missing little pieces, and I get more detail if necessary. Then I flush it out to all the departments. They review it, send it back to me, and then we get the town manager's approval for it. Mm-hmm. So I am really the conduit and helping make sure that the event is starting off on the right foot for success.
Right. And with so many events that happen, I mean, I can take Craigville Beach just as an example for folks so they can kind of wrap this around their heads.
Yeah.
There's Best Buddies, there's Girly Girl Parts, there are probably at least 6 more road races that use the Craigville Beach area for their road races, the triathlons, all of that information has to be coordinated because you don't want you want your event on a specific date. You're going to want to get that application in probably right after the event's ended for that year.
Yeah, so applications can be filed up to 1 year in advance from the date of the proposed event. But we do have, like you mentioned, we have some annual events that have been happening for 30, 40 years. And so their dates are set in stone for the most part at a particular weekend and or a specific day of the year, calendar day of the year is what they go to. For example, we have Sturgis graduation that uses Asselton Park, and it's always the first weekend of June. So we know that we can't schedule any other conflicts in that area. So it is really important that event organizers that are looking to hold a new event contact me, see if there's a date that is available for the particular location, because that's what I'm here for, is to make sure that you don't make all of these grand plans and then the space isn't available. I mean, what's the point of all of that? We want to be as efficient with your time as well as our time with the staff, because like I mentioned, there's just so many little details and moving parts to make sure that we as a town support this event that is aligned with our strategic, with our mission of our community is to engage people and provide these services for them. So, And
as you mentioned, the calendar, right? Yeah. So the town green between basically the end of May to the beginning of November is just a hub of activity. So where do people find the calendar of events for town property?
Yeah, so there are several locations, actually. We try to make it as accessible as possible. So we think of all the details of where maybe somebody could look and then have start their starting location. So actually on the town's main landing page, there is in the quick links section, when you scroll slightly down, there is one specific that says special events. But then it's also listed within the department page of licensing, and there you'll see licensing and then a special events page. And within the special events page, you can find the calendar, and you can find also all of the forms, the guidebook for use of town property, which I highly recommend every event organizer read the event guidebook. It is very comprehensive. It's a good starting point that then you can contact any department with more specific questions when you're asking, that's tailored around what your event is. So I really highly recommend going to the website. And if you don't know it, then you can contact me, though, and I will gladly give you the link for it.
Right. There's, again, so many events that happen within the town of Barnstable. So and we have some great town events.
We do. We have an enormous array of events, and actually is growing in diversity, which has been really wonderful. Being in charge of special events for the town of Barnstable for the last 8 years, I've really gotten to see how it has grown because I've been watching it. I've been keeping statistics on all of this and where these events are occurring, at what time of year they're occurring, and how many times do they come back, and what were their failures or their successes. And we can learn from all of that. We have over 150 applications that have been filed. That does not include the number of days that these events are happening. Some of these happen reoccurring. Like I had given an example of Level of Local or Open Streets. They file one application for 2 different days and it encompasses within that one application. So we have over 150 applications. And you think of the demands of that. And there are days, for example, 4th of July, the busiest day of the year, right? We have 7 different villages, and every village has their own events happening. So it is really important that, I can't stress this enough, is that events we want to support the event, but unless you give us and communicate to us and file the paperwork so we know what kind of event it is, we can't make sure it's on our calendar so we know where things are happening when they're happening. Right. For example, and this is why I really like to recommend First Amendment applications. They're free to apply, but we just need to know where you are and where a group of people are and how many approximate people are going to be at this location, so that the police and the fire and DPW and all the other departments know when there is going to be a congregation of people happening at a certain location, so we can make sure everyone is safe and be able to do what they need to do and want to do on our property, on the town's property. So, yeah.
It's really informative, and we'll just go back to our listeners and say, you want to hold a special event? It depends.
Exactly. It depends. And I am the guru for special events. So I really highly encourage using my services and my expertise on this, because I will help you go in the right direction.
Right. Yes. Fantastic, Liz. Really, really great information. So again, you're on the other side here, so I get to do some rapid fire questions. I'm wondering, first, right off the bat, I think I know the answer to this, but what's the favorite time of your day?
You think you know the answer?
Maybe.
I may surprise you.
Okay.
It is actually the morning. I am totally an early riser. I love that moment where the world hasn't woken up yet, and I get to watch it unfold. And I start my day off, and before even my house unfolds, basically. So, that is my favorite time of day.
I knew that.
Okay, all right. I'm not that mysterious then, I guess.
No, it's just those early morning emails.
Oh yeah. Darn. I was found out.
Okay, this one I don't know, but I'm curious, is what was your first concert?
This is going to be embarrassing and wonderful at the same time. It was, believe it or not, the Monkees. And they were doing That Was Then, This Is Now tour, and Weird Al Yankovic opened up for him, and it was the greatest concert ever. I was really young at the time, and my parents took us, and they were playing at Wolf Trap because I grew up in DC area, and they performed at Wolf Trap, and it was the greatest concert ever.
Oh, that's just too funny.
And at the time, the Monkees show was on Nick at Night. They were doing the reruns, so
they were on Nick at Night. I remember watching it live.
Yes, exactly. Well, but they were put on Nick at Night to watch again. Yeah. And so we were huge Monkey fans. So then when they went on tour, we were like, oh my God, we gotta go. So my parents booked the tickets, and then we were blessed with being exposed to Weird Al, and that was the end of it for my parents. Yeah.
That's great.
We were warped.
And then the final rapid fire question. Favorite place in Barnstable?
Oh, there's so many. But I have to say, and you'll probably know, my favorite place is actually Bismore Park, because it really means so much to me. And it was really the start of, my professional moments in Barnstable. Right. And I got to be blessed to help, continue developing that area and discovering its personality, and also discovering its legacy and why it was named Bismore Park. And really, I have such a strong personal and emotional connection to that place. My blood, sweat, and tears went into there, really. And that will always have such a near and dear spot to my heart.
Absolutely gorgeous spot. If folks don't know it, it's right there on Hyannis Harbor. Our welcome center is there, that we welcome hundreds of thousands and millions of people from around the world visit that area.
And it's so highly populated and just so much movement. But at the same time, there's such little places in that small area that you can actually sit and be quiet. Yep. And watch what's going around. And it's so good for people watching, and it's so lovely. So thank you for asking me.
That's wonderful.
So fun. I'm going to have to ask you. I'm going to put you on the other side of the mic next time, Paula.
Thanks for spending time with us and listening to Discover Barnstable, the official podcast of the Town of Barnstable. We hope you found a new understanding of how your municipal government works to protect, engage, and enact for you and our community. Be sure to drop us a line at podcast@town.barnstable.ma.us and let us know what you would like to learn next. Till next time, go discover Barnstable.